Silver Defender wants to know, the first question across the bow. After playing on a conveyor belt caused controversy, did you approach further MythBusters stories with caution just in case they followed the same way and everything carry on as normal? Okay, so let me just walk you through Airplane on a Conveyor Belt briefly. This was, at the time we did it, maybe the most controversial story we ever filmed. In terms of the personal backlash to Jamie and I. It was spectacular. The myth, as stated, is that if an airplane, my hand is said airplane, is trying to take off on a runway, the myth supposes that there could be a runway that is a conveyor belt running in the opposite direction. So if the conveyor belt runs in the opposite direction and matches the speed of the plane, the question is, can the plane take off? TLDR, yes, the plane will always take off. And if this bends your mind, you're probably thinking of the plane like a car moving across the ground. And for a car, the ground is the medium that it moves across. But a plane, the ground is just there as a happenstance until it's into the air. So the ground is literally not the medium an airplane moves through. It's a medium it moves across, but it uses its propellers to cut through the wind. So the fact is, no matter how fast this conveyor belt is going, the propeller of the plane will always break traction and move forward. So the plane will always move forward under every circumstance, which means it will take off. The question has a trick in it where it leads you to believe that if the conveyor belt is moving this way and the plane's moving this way, that the plane is stationary. But that's an assumption you're making in your head. It's not true. The plane will never remain stationary as soon as it starts its propellers. So when we first decided to do this story, Jamie was like, why are we doing this story? It's dumb. Of course the plane takes off. And I was like, sir, you know, other people have different ideas about what is and isn't possible. And then I actually think I printed out like 2 inches of argument on the internet about this subject to get Jamie across the line. And then he jumped in. Just so much argument. So, I mean, you know, the internet is built for argument. And this is the early days. This is like 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. So this feels like, yeah. And the controversy that we endured was that the episode was going to air and then it didn't for some schedule snafu. And the conspiracy theorists, well, among the people who were insisting that the plane would never ever take off was a conspiracy-minded group that felt that Discovery not airing this was some part of a conspiracy. And this was when Jamie had his shop phone line disconnected, because he still had a landline that you could call M5 Industries and get him on the phone. And occasionally fans would do that, but it wasn't much of a problem. But on that day, that Airplane on a Conveyor Belt did not air. Jamie came in the next morning and his answering machine tape, yes, we used to have tapes for answering machines. His answering machine tape was filled with messages of fans screaming like, conspiracy, you guys are in on it. Big, I don't know, big conveyor belt. I don't know who they thought was in on the conspiracy. And to just describe just how deeply this myth pervades in consciousness, or how tricky the question is, the pilot we hired didn't think his plane was going to take off. Oh, right. Let me tell you, it's worth telling the experimental setup because it's one of my all-time favorites. I think this setup came about as a collaboration between Dan Tapster, our co-executive producer of the show, and Rhett Allen was our science advisor and also a science writer for Wired magazine. What they came up with was absolutely brilliant. If you want a runway that's going to be a conveyor belt, what we did was we bought 1/2 mile of heavy-duty mesh fencing, and we dragged it behind a pickup truck. It's exactly right. So we dragged, we had an ultralight plane that was still clad like an airplane, so it looked like an airplane, but it weighed, I think, under 250 pounds unloaded, something like that. So its takeoff speed, is this?
Stop it.
Okay.
Clip it on your
Oh, clip this?
Clip it.
Okay, I was having audio issues. Was it all going into the camera until now? Okay, we're all good? Do I sound better now? Okay. All right. So the airplane ultralight's takeoff speed was somewhere around 25 to 30 miles an hour. That was an easy speed for us to reach in the pickup truck. So the goal was the plane starts to move, the pickup truck starts to move, and lo, the plane took off. But our pilot of that flight was like, I don't think this plane's taken off. So it's a super, super tricky question. That controversy, a meal for all of us. So delightful. There's nothing better than jumping into a fray like that with all the data. And so, actually, I mean, a lot of the online forums, and MythBusters had its own online forum at the time, and a lot of people were like, well, they didn't prove anything because I disagree with their results, which is, I can't help that. But you ask if the controversy was something that we tried to avoid later, and no. And I think that we wanted more stories like that would drive people bananas, or they'd have great disagreements. Another one that we did that I thought was really excellent, I was really happy with the methodology, was the Monty Hall problem. I'm not going to take your time up right now during a live stream to relitigate the Monty Hall paradox, but it's worth looking up, and our episode's a real banger. We have some questions that have been pre-submitted. Gwen Protheroe, a name I have not seen before, I don't think, says, I've been listening to your audiobook on repeat. Thank you. Oh, that's lovely. You bring something extra to the book with your inflection, mannerisms, passion, and voices of other people. Did you enjoy the process? And have you considered voice work for other audiobooks? I will tell you, yes, I enjoyed the process immensely. Yes, I love the idea of recording audiobooks for other people. No one's asked. Don't just email me and ask me to record your audiobook. It takes a long time. A couple of stories to tell about recording the audio for Every Tool is a Hammer, the book I wrote in 2019. I was on my way to, they gave me the choice. Would you like to record the audiobook? Yes, I would. Of course I would. That was a fait accompli. We just knew that. And then as I was heading out to the first recording session, my wife was listening to Elizabeth Gilbert's newest book, Big Magic, or at that time, her newest book. We're big Elizabeth Gilbert stans in our household. Look, you may not think Eat, Pray, Love is that great. That's fine. Her fictional book, The Signature of All Things, is one of my favorite books. It's so beautiful, and I love her approach to creativity. I love her approach to expansive, creative minds finding ways to collaborate. I'm a big Elizabeth Gilbert stan, and Julia played for me part of her audiobook for Big Magic, specifically to listen to the fact that she was clearly had the gain turned up and was leaning into the microphone, almost a little ASMR-y, right? That you could really hear the voice. And that's what I went into the session to do. I really liked that approach. I felt like it was nice and intimate. I liked the idea of being in your ears. And it is in the recording of that book. It took 3 sessions. And it's in the recording of that I discovered that I can talk for 6 hours straight, and then my voice craps the bed, and I need a few days to recover. It is a thing to record audiobooks, man, and the people that do it are stallions. That is a hard job. Look, I won't say that I'm not going to record someone else's audiobook. It certainly could happen. It's not. It's a standard fee. No one makes that much more than, unless you're super famous, and I'm not up there. And yeah, I have considered doing audiobooks for other people's books, and it may happen. Who knows? Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about Tested membership. The Tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from Tested and from YouTube. The Tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the Tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback. That's a member right now. Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. For everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.